Right now, just on the other side of your window glass, there is a bird assessing you. Not just today, not just for the last few weeks, but for as long as it has lived in your territory. It watches you every morning when you step out onto the deck with your coffee. It tracks you every time you walk down the driveway to check the mail. It notices every afternoon you spend pulling weeds in the garden or letting the dog out into the yard. Millions of us across North America look out our kitchen windows, fill our expensive cedar feeders with black oil sunflower seeds and suet blocks, and want to believe that the birds understand our good intentions. We want to believe that when a northern cardinal lingers on the fence post, or when a black-capped chickadee lands on a branch just inches from our face, they are waiting for us. We project our own human emotions onto them. We want it to be friendship. But the reality of wild bird behavior is not grounded in human sentiment. It is grounded in survival. Here at Zumix Bird Lore, we look past the romanticized myths to uncover the raw, biological reality of wildlife. The truth is, that cardinal in your backyard isn't building an emotional connection with you. It is quietly, meticulously, building a behavioral risk profile of you. It is gathering data over thousands of micro-observations. And there is a specific, actionable signal you can give that will measurably shift that profile. Most well-meaning humans never give this signal, not because they don't care, but because they have absolutely no idea they are constantly failing the bird's silent test. To understand how a bird sees you, you first have to understand the limits and the brilliance of its mind. A northern cardinal or an American goldfinch does not build the kind of detailed, individual facial recognition profile that a crow, a raven, or a blue jay would. The cognitive architecture for that level of complex facial recognition is found primarily in corvids. What backyard songbirds build, instead, is a pattern-based profile. They map your physical gait, the heavy, predictable thud of your boots on the wooden porch, the specific acoustic signature of your voice echoing through the open screen door, the rhythm and routine of your presence. Over months of observation, the bird categorizes you. Usually, if you haven't chased it or lunged at it, that categorization is tolerated background presence. You are flagged as a non-threat, but in the wild, complacency is lethal. That classification is never permanent. Birds continuously update their risk assessment of every single feature in their environment. And where this gets genuinely fascinating is how birds monitor exactly where your attention is pointed. A landmark study published in the Proceedings of the Royal Society tested European magpies' responses to humans. Researchers found that the birds allowed humans to approach significantly closer if the humans deliberately looked away. But the moment the humans stopped and stared directly at the bird, it flushed and fled. This kind of gaze sensitivity is ancient. It is older than songbird intelligence. Every visual predator on Earth, from the neighborhood feral cat to a Cooper's hawk circling overhead, locks its eyes on its prey before striking. A direct, prolonged gaze is, by evolutionary default, the precursor to an attack. So, when you stand at your sliding glass door and stare lovingly at the birds on your feeder for minutes on end, you aren't sending love. You are radiating the biological signature of a predator. We love to think of our backyards as sanctuaries. We spend billions of dollars a year on bird baths, houses, and seed. But ornithological science paints a much harsher picture of the human-dominated landscape. If you truly want to care for these animals, you have to understand the invisible threats they navigate daily. Threats that we accidentally create. First, there is the glass illusion. We install massive, clear windows to feel closer to nature. But according to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, birds simply do not possess the conceptual understanding of glass. Because they process visual information far faster than we do to navigate flight. When they look at your living room window, they don't see a barrier. They see the reflection of the open sky and the canopy behind them. It is estimated that up to 1 billion birds die in North America every single year from window strikes. Placing UV reflective decals every 2 inches on your large windows isn't just a suggestion. It is a science-backed rescue operation. Second, we have to address the paradox of the full feeder. You might spend a fortune on premium seed blends, assuming you are single-handedly sustaining the local flock. But Dr. Doug Tallamy, a renowned entomologist at the University of Delaware, uncovered a sobering reality. 96% of terrestrial birds in North America rely entirely on insects, specifically caterpillars, to feed their young. You cannot raise a nest of baby chickadees on sunflower seeds. If your yard is meticulously manicured with alien, non-native ornamental grass and imported shrubs that don't host native insects, your yard is an ecological dead zone. It is a food desert. You might be feeding the adults in the winter, but you are starving the next generation in the spring. Attracting birds isn't just about hanging a feeder. It is about planting native oaks and native wildflowers to rebuild the food web. Third, and perhaps most importantly, is the physiological tax of the false alarm. Every time you let the golden retriever out too quickly, or let a door slam shut, causing the flock to scatter in a panic, there is a hidden biological cost. Ecological studies show that these sudden disturbances cause a massive spike in cortisol, the stress hormone. Think about the brutal reality of a North American winter. When the polar vortex dips down and temperatures drop well below zero, a tiny black-capped chickadee, weighing roughly the same as a couple of quarters, has to survive the freezing night. To do so, it must burn a highly specific amount of stored body fat to shiver and stay warm. When your unpredictable behavior forces that flock into repeated, panicked flights during the day, they burn that precious fat. You aren't just scaring them, you are slowly depleting the thermal reserves they need to survive the night. When you grasp the extreme fragility of their existence, the way you interact with them changes. The timescale of a backyard bird's life matters far more than we realize. A black-capped chickadee in the wild averages about 2.5 years of life. An American robin averages 2 years. A northern cardinal might make it to 3. These are incredibly short lives spent in a state of continuous, exhausting vigilance. If a chickadee has been visiting your deck for 2 years, it has been visiting your home for its entire adult life. You are a major, immovable feature of its universe. And this is where your moral mission begins. You cannot change the harshness of a January freeze, and you cannot eliminate natural predators, but you possess the absolute power to lower a bird's baseline stress. You have the ability to shift your yard from a neutral zone requiring high vigilance to an actively safe habitat. How do you do it? With science. First, practice the 2-second rule. Tomorrow morning, when you step out to fill the feeder, stop. Find the bird that is already waiting in the bare branches. Look at it briefly, no more than 2 seconds, with a soft, unfocused gaze. Speak a few words in a low, quiet, calm tone. Then, deliberately look away. Go about your business. You have just given the bird's neural network completely novel data. The human predator sees me, acknowledges my presence, and is actively choosing not to hunt me. Second, commit to uncompromising feeder hygiene. A dirty feeder is a biological hazard. The USC's National Wildlife Health Center constantly warns that unclean feeders are primary transmission sites for fatal outbreaks of avian pox and salmonella. If you truly love the birds in your yard, you must clean your feeders with a 10% bleach solution every 2 weeks. Scrub them, dry them. Do not let your generosity become a disease vector. Third, become predictable. Nature thrives on rhythm. Fill your feeders at the same time every morning. Walk the same path. Move at a consistent, unhurried pace. Do not surprise them. If you do these 3 things consistently for just 1 week, the behavior of the birds in your yard will measurably shift. They will linger longer when you step outside. They will allow you to walk closer before taking flight. Their frantic, high-pitched alarm calls will quiet down when you appear. The bird is not experiencing human affection. It is simply revising its risk model. But the physical, practical result, a beautiful male cardinal resting with its eyes half closed on a branch just 10 feet above your head, is profoundly real. To a creature that will only live to see 3 winters, giving it a sanctuary where it can feed without fear, where it can lower its baseline stress and conserve its vital energy, is an incredible gift. It costs you 2 seconds of your morning, and it costs you nothing in your wallet. But for the small, fragile life that has been quietly tracking you since the day it fledged, it is absolutely everything. Nature doesn't need our sentimentality. It needs our understanding. Here at Zumix Bird Lore, we are dedicated to bringing you the biological truth behind the beauty of the wild, helping you become a true, scientifically grounded steward of your local ecosystem. If you want to continue uncovering the fascinating, evidence-based realities of wildlife, make sure to subscribe to Zumix Bird Lore. And we want to hear from you in the comments below. What native North American plants are you growing in your yard to support the insect population? And have you ever tried the 2-second rule with a specific bird on your property? Let us know what happened. We read every single comment. Until next time, respect the wild and keep observing.